Hey, what's up, everybody? It's just Charles, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. We got another episode for you guys, so make sure you stick around, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Anyway, here we go again. So the Lakers, as y'all know, played another game last night, and there were a lot of games last night, and I was trying to choose between which game to cover. There were three. There was the Lakers versus the Pelicans. I think there were the Brooklyn Nets versus the Hornets, and it was the Philadelphia 76ers versus the Phoenix Suns, right? Those are the three games, and I had to make a decision on what game I wanted to cover in this morning. I was able to make a decision after reading through some comments. So reading through some articles. So going into that game, talking about the Lakers versus the Pelicans, we all understand that it was a must-win for both teams, excuse me. But more importantly for the Lakers, why? Because going into this season, the New Orleans Pelicans, no one had them pegged to be the favorite to come out of the Western Conference. That title or that expectation was on the Lakers' shoulders. Going into this season, the Lakers had the best odds of any team in the Western Conference to come out of the Western Conference to represent the West in the NBA Finals. So when I tuned into that game, I tuned in the first half, and during the first half, the Lakers are up by like 10 or 15 points, right? So I said to myself, I said, this game, I'm like, these guys are most likely going to win this game. There's no point at all for me to continue watching this game because they're going to win. There's no way that they're going to have a lead on this team and then lose, because usually what happens is the Lakers get down early in games and then they usually just end up getting blown out. But in this case, they had a lead, so I was like, okay, there's no way that they were going to end up losing that game, and I thought they were going to win easily. But when I woke up, I found out that I was clearly wrong on what this team could do, because it turned out the Lakers found a way to somehow lose to the New Orleans Pelicans in a game in a game that they needed to have in order to keep their playoff hopes alive. So what happened? The Lakers outscored the Pelicans in the first half 69 to 49 points. So they were putting foots in them. And it was one of the reasons why I thought that they were going to win. LeBron James in the first half was 6 of 9 from the three-point line. He made a lot of three-pointers, especially these long-range threes, right? Those are showboating threes. There's no reason to be shooting those threes except you just want to show off. But nevertheless, he was hitting some pretty big shots. So LeBron was playing well in the first half, and there were three Lakers, including LeBron and Russell Westbrook and LeBron and Malik Monk, that were in double figures in the first half. So it wasn't like as if it was a LeBron James show and he wasn't having any help. He was getting help. How do we know? Because the Lakers are up by virtually 20 points in the first half. So we're not going to use the excuse of, oh, he was just out there by himself. There was no one helping him. No, guys were chipping in. But in the second half is when things went wrong and it just turned into a total disaster. The Lakers ended up getting outscored, 39 to 67. And LeBron himself, who was hot in the first half, I think he shot over 60% in the first half. In the second half, he shot 35% from the field. And Malik Monk scored 11 points in the second half, and he actually shot 55.6% from the field. But so they ended up losing the game. But what really surprised me, what really prompted us to do this video, were the comments that he made post-game. We were able to get a hold of some of the comments that LeBron James made during his post-game interview, and it sounded to me like he was throwing some of his teammates under the bus. So before we go too far, we want to quickly play some of his comments here and then come back and give you guys our thoughts. So just take a quick listen to that there.
That's what it feels like. You know, I came in with the mindset, understanding it was a playoff type, it's going to be playoff type atmosphere, playoff implications and things of that nature. So, I knew that from the jump. We also got a lot of guys on our ball club that haven't played in playoff games as well. That plays a lot of big minutes for us. You have Malik and, Winyan, Austin, Stan, who, Taylor is pretty much not accustomed to it as well. So, we try to bottle that in and try to help the young guys understand how, the magnitude of it. And, they got guys who've been in the postseason. It feels like a wasted opportunity, obviously, for myself and for our team, and we weren't able to get it done.
Now, to me, it sounded like he was calling out his teammates. He isn't the first person that's done this. I've heard Kobe Bryant on many occasions do the same thing to some of his former teammates and Pau Gasol. I'm not saying that LeBron is the only one. No. There have been other great players in the past that have called out their teammates. So that's the first part. But nevertheless, there was something that he said during that audio that really had me scratching my head. He said that a lot of the guys on this roster don't have a lot of playoff experience and they haven't played in playoff games. What is he referring to? He's basically saying that a lot of the guys or a lot of his teammates didn't understand the situation that they were in, and they didn't understand how critical it was for them to play well in order to secure that win to keep their play-in tournament hopes alive. Now, I'm going to call BS on that, and I'll tell you why. The Lakers on their roster have LeBron James, Russell Westbrook, Dwight Howard, and Carmelo Anthony. I can't even count the total playoff games that those 4 guys alone have played. I can't even count it, and I don't even wait. I didn't even bother wasting my time going through the arithmetic and the mental gymnastics of trying to do all of that. It was just a waste of time. But I think all of us can agree that those 4 guys have played a lot of playoff games. Why am I bringing this up? Because all 4 of those guys had minutes in that game. If I'm not mistaken, Dwight Howard even started that game. When I looked at the box score, Carmelo Anthony got some run. Russell Westbrook got some run. LeBron James got some run. So I think it's unfair to say that the reason we lost this game is because our younger guys didn't have enough experience and they're the one. To me, it just sounded like as if he was just trying to throw somebody under the bus. To talk about Malik Monk had 3 less points than LeBron in the second half. Malik Monk. So he was playing very well. The simple reason that the Lakers lost that game had everything to do with their defense. The Lakers got outscored by 26 points in the second half. They shot 18.8% from the 3-point line in the second half. They got out rebounded by 10 rebounds in the second half, and they lost that game as a team. If you win as a team, you lose as a team. The finger pointing doesn't help. And to add insult to injury, when LeBron was on the floor, the Lakers were his plus minus was actually -9. And when Malik Monk was on the floor, his plus minus was +7. Now, I don't get into the plus minuses a lot, but it just goes to show you that there's more to the game. And you just can't simply blame people. I was recently listening to, a soundbite, I believe it was on Twitter by Kenny For Real. And he said something. He's like, are the Lakers shielding LeBron from losses? And I was like, what is this? So I clicked on the video. And basically what he did was he looked at all of the games that the Lakers have played, the wins and losses, and he discovered that for all of the losses, the players that they put on the card, the Lakers, is always Malik. I think Malik Monk's face was used the most when it came to losses. I think they used Russell Westbrook. They used Anthony Davis a great deal. But they never attributed any losses to LeBron. LeBron's image was never used on losses. When they won, he was used for the majority of the wins. It was him, Russell Westbrook, and I believe Anthony Davis. So to me, it looks like there's a lot of funny business going on. To me, it sounded like he threw his teammates under the bus. He's not the first one to do that. It's just that the excuse that he was making of, the reason we lost is because a lot of these guys don't have playoff experience when you're playing with 4 Hall of Famers. With 3 Hall of Famers. If we look at the Lakers roster, there are 4 top 75 players on the roster. You cannot use the excuse of, we don't have enough playoff experience and these guys didn't seize the moment.